All right. Good news. Thousands of baby chicks abandoned in a Delaware mail van were adopted. That's the good news. The bad news is that it was by KFC. I guess that's not actually that bad in news. I like chicken. The U.S. ranked first in the world in swearing, according to a new recent report. It's just more proof Americans are furious. They have to live in a country that only allows them 3 dolls and 5 pencils. I don't understand that. Hi, everybody. I'm Kenny Webster. Thanks for turning on your radio. It's good to be here with you. Who wrote these things? These are terrible jokes. It's good to be with you. Hey, thanks to everybody that joined us this weekend in, where were we? Louisiana. We were in New Orleans. We were in Jackson, Mississippi. We had 4 sold-out comedy shows this weekend. And then Jackson was a thing as well. People kept coming up to me in Jackson, Mississippi and saying, "Welcome to Jaffrica." And I don't know what that means, but people kept saying it to me. I thought that was a strange thing to say. And I would not have thought to call it that, but apparently that's what people say. You know what else I wouldn't think of is to elect Beto O'Rourke to do anything. But he's back now. For those that don't remember who Beto O'Rourke is, Beto O'Rourke was the liberal Democrat who kept failing his way to the top. I've never really understood the appeal of Beto O'Rourke. But now, in the wake of Tim Walz and the Kamala Harris debacle, the Democrat Party is starting to look at Beto O'Rourke and they're thinking, maybe this could be the guy. The Democrats have a problem. Women, are indifferent about the Democrat Party. Men hate the Democrat Party. Who's the Democrat Party for now? I don't know. Black, queer, transgenders who are disabled. It's not for average people. The Democrat Party is having a big convention. They're spending $20 million so Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear and Gavin Newsom can help determine, why don't men like us anymore? Well, why? Men, answer this question. Why won't you vote for us, you toxic Nazis? Wait, I think your question actually answers the question you're asking. The very nature of the question answers it. Democrats went out and they told men for years, you're horrible, you're awful, admit that you're privileged, you ruined the whole world. Oh, by the way, we still want your vote. No, it doesn't work that way, does it? Turns out average men who pretty much built the modern world, who are responsible for all of the great accomplishments that you enjoy, they can't be shamed into voting for you, as it turns out. So the Democrat Party back in the 2024 election thought maybe Tim Walz, this guy who lied about his military service and put tampons in little boys' bathrooms, maybe he's the guy that will appeal to average men. Turns out no. And suddenly the Democrats are starting to realize maybe it's Beto O'Rourke. Now, there's a reason why they're doing this. Where'd that story go? I had something on my screen here. The latest polling data reveals Senator John Cornyn is up against Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton in the next U.S. Senate race. And according to this new polling data, Cornyn is trailing Paxton by 16 points. That's pretty bad, which means it's pretty likely Ken Paxton's going to be the candidate next year. Now, if that's the case, who's he going to be up against? The latest on this is that it's Beto O'Rourke. Beto O'Rourke and the Democrat Party have had I guess for lack of a better term, a slippery slope of a relationship over the years. There was an article in Vanity Fair. I don't read Vanity Fair, but 5 days ago, Vanity Fair ran the following headline. Here, let me put this on the screen for those of you. By the way, we're live streaming on social media. For those of you that are listening to us on the radio right now, you can also watch us live streaming. Here is a headline from Vanity Fair. Oh, there's a pop-up ad. Thank you. Why Beto O'Rourke may never stop running. And then the subheadline, this is from some guy named Joe Hagan. And Joe writes, the Texas politician has been hitting campuses and streets to register voters, and he's keeping the faith for Democrats. And it's as flattering as they could do. It's not that flattering, but it's somewhat flattering. Now, their position on Beto O'Rourke has changed a little bit. I want you to compare this to their headline in the same newspaper from about 5 or 6 years ago. Here's another one. Beto O'Rourke, I'm just born to be in it. Again, an article by Joe Hagan, but photography by Annie Leibovitz, the same person that famously photographed Vladimir Zelensky. Who didn't love that? And it's pictures of Beto O'Rourke, very well photographed, out in the middle of the West Texas desert with his dog. And even the dog looks like he wouldn't trust Beto O'Rourke. When you look at the photographs, he's got a black lab, and the black lab's looking up at Beto like, no, this guy's not going to lead us anywhere. He's a beta sissy boy. Do you guys all remember all the things that made Beto famous? He's the son-in-law of a guy with $500 million. So right away, that's why he keeps running. But even progressives in his own community don't like him. In El Paso, where Beto O'Rourke comes from, he was involved years ago in what was like a real estate scheme downtown with his father-in-law, and it involved eminent domain laws, taking property away from people to build, and it was very unpopular with the local progressives. He was famously part of a hacking cult called Cult of the Dead Cow when he was a teenager, not because he was some computer savant genius or what, nothing to the quite to the contrary. Actually, he would write articles for this online bulletin board called Cult of the Dead Cow, where he would talk about how much fun it might be to kill somebody. That's the fan fiction stuff he was famous for writing. He once got into a terrible car accident when he was drunk driving, and then he fled the scene of the accident. And those are just some of his more flattering character traits. I'm not really sure what's to like about Beto O'Rourke, but I guess what it really boils down to is this. They think Beto O'Rourke can appeal to young male voters, to a group of people that they're not appealing to at all. And they think maybe Beto O'Rourke will be more appealing than Ken Paxton. So I reached out to a young male voter. Not like physically or anything, just figuratively. He's one of our weekend talk show hosts. He's a Zoomer. He's in his early 20s. And Ethan Buchanan is here right now.
What's up, y'all?
Not only does he work in the newsroom down the hall, he hosts a talk show here on the weekends on KPRC AM 950, the oldest radio station in Texas. Ethan, the Democrats think that Beto O'Rourke is how they're going to be able to win you over. What do you think?
I don't know if it's so much they think, oh, this guy's it. We finally found it. As much as it is, well, we've got nobody else. That's what I think the mentality is. I mean, they don't have candidates, especially not here in Texas. They thought they had something fresh and new with Colin Allred, and we see how that worked out. Cruz beat Allred more than Trump beat Harris here in Texas. So I think it's just they have nothing else, so they go back to old reliable, and when you need somebody to run a race, you just throw Beto O'Rourke out there and see what happens. And as far as why Beto's in it, I think it comes down to something you and I have talked about where, people just run campaigns just to run campaigns. I don't think Beto thinks he's going to win. I don't think the Democrats think they're going to win, but they have to run somebody. So they pick Beto, and Beto says, well, I might not win, but I'll get a bunch of media attention and I'll get some campaign donations. So even if I lose, I still win.
Okay, so, right. I mean, that's pretty much what he's done up until this point. Beto O'Rourke performed what we call the Texas liberal hat trick. Mm-hmm. He lost the Senate race to Ted Cruz. He lost the governor's race to Abbott. And now they think maybe, of course, the presidential primary.
That doesn't even count.
Yeah, he got crushed in his own party. His own party didn't want him.
Right.
Back in 2020, I think he was one of the first Democrats to drop out of that thing, him and Kamala Harris. Didn't pick him to be their running mate. They weren't interested in him at all, not even a little bit. But they think he's appealing to young male voters. Wasn't he in a band with one of the guys from Mars Volta or At the Drive-In or something? I guess, I don't know. That's probably not your...
I'm going to try not to date you as much as I can, but who's Mars Volta?
Oh, my God. Mars, that's... Okay, never mind. Ethan, what music do you listen to?
All right. I listen to two kinds of music. Either old folk music from the Civil War or Mongolian folk rock music.
And you're trying to make me feel old because I listen to Mars Volta? Is that... Ethan, I don't think that's...
I'm not trying to make you old. I'm just... It's weird. But Beto O'Rourke's problem is this. He's running in the Democrat Party, which I don't know how familiar you are with them, but they don't tend to care for straight white men. And Beto O'Rourke at least claims all of those monikers. Although he tried to be Hispanic for a while. We caught him. He's actually Irish. But the Democrat base doesn't like him. And the kind of moderate to right-leaning average white guy sees through his act. He's kind of a self-hating white guy, and we can see that. You're using the fact that, oh, I'm a white man. Look at me. I'm one of you, bros. It's got that same kind of feel as like a 60-year-old trying to use modern internet slang. We know what you're doing, and it's weird.
Yeah, but Tim Walz did this too. After losing, Tim Walz went out and did a rally where he told voters, as old white men, that's what's wrong with America. And Tim Walz is an old white guy. Tim Walz looks older than he is. He sounds older than he is. The only thing that makes him young and hip is if you don't understand what young and hip people want.
Right.
Over the weekend, what is it? Scott Pelley from 60 Minutes gave the commencement speech at the graduation for Wake Forest College or Wake Forest University. It's a room full of people that probably voted for Trump. They're young people in their 20s. Young people are now skewing right wing. They're now skewing conservative for the first time in decades. For the first time in as far back as we've been tracking this, suddenly young male voters and young voters in general are right wing. They're conservative. I don't think old white liberals get that. They think that young people are still liberal. They're not. I mean, I guess we should be grateful they're not figuring this out.
It's the echo chamber. They still haven't gotten out of that left-wing echo chamber. I mean, their entire lives growing up in the 60s, because that's when these old people were in their 20s, was in the 60s, and everybody was a leftist. And they were hanging out with leftists. They were partying with leftists all through the 60s. And as they got older and got into politics, they got into left-wing politics. They got into left-wing journalism, left-wing newspapers, left-wing media. And that just sort of continued. And then social media was left-wing for a long time. Now that's kind of skewing the other way, thanks to Elon Musk and X.
Right.
But the people that grew up in that system, have lived their whole lives in that system, and have, fostered the system, they're still in it. They're still in the echo chamber. So young people are becoming more right-wing because they're rejecting the system that all these 60-year-old white liberals built. And the 60-year-old white liberals have not picked up to the fact that, hey, I'm alone in this echo chamber. I'm hearing the echoes and I'm thinking it's other people, but no, it's just me.
Okay, well, I think you're onto something there. As we are having this discussion, we are live streaming on social media, and we're getting comments about it. King Quad on YouTube says, shut up, Beto, and go to hell, too. On X, Coffee Machinery Operator says, Beto running again is like Angel Reese repeatedly throwing shots and never hitting. Sit on the bench, bro. Carnifex Maximus on X says, come on, Ethan, those aren't real genres. He's right. What did you say? You like Mongolian
folk rock and...
I think you're just making stuff up.
No, I swear to God it's real. I swear to God it's real.
What's a Mongolian folk rock band, Ethan?
The Who, H-U, not W-H-O, not The Who. The Who, H-U.
Okay, I believe you.
It's good music. It really is.
Sure, okay. Lord Zoth on YouTube says, hey, Kenny, just saw a story about Texas trying to completely ban THC. What's up with that? I'd expect that from my home state of Louisiana, but not Texas. Okay.
Oh, boy.
I actually think that plays into this topic a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it does. I mean, young conservative right-wing Republican voters tend to like Trump, obviously. How could they not like Trump? It's why they came to the party. And overwhelmingly, they support legalizing marijuana. Poll after poll reveals that. Now, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick is from the old George W. Bush neocon wing of the Republican Party. It was Trump who passed the Farm Bill. It was Trump who legalized THC and CBD products in all 50 states. Low-grade THC, but THC nonetheless. And I got to think, if I was a Democrat right now, and I was in the state of Texas, and I was trying to beat John Cornyn or Ken Paxton, probably Ken Paxton in the general election next year, I think this would be an issue I would run on. Young Republican voters don't agree with Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick is like a dream come true right now to the Democrat Party, because he's actually doing something that moderates, all Democrats, and even most Republicans, according to the polling I've seen, about 70% of Republicans don't agree with, and that's outlawing THC products. Ethan, you're a young voter. What's your take? I know you don't smoke weed, and that's okay, but...
I don't smoke weed, but I do, as a libertarian, support any given person's right to do that
a Libertarian Party member?
No, because they're a joke.
Okay, so just a libertarian ideology. You're a Republican.
Yeah.
So you are the exact group of people that the Democrats are having a convention right now to try to get votes from.
Right.
Let's pretend hypothetically, Ethan, hypothetical, right? What would the Democrats have to hypothetically do to win your vote? What would they do?
If the Democrats really wanted to win my vote, and God, it's hard to pin it down to one thing. If the Democrats wanted to win my vote, what they would have to do is say, we as the Democrat Party, if you give us control of the federal government, all three branches, and both chambers of Congress, we will do literally nothing, and the states can handle every single issue in their own legislatures. If that was their pitch, if that was what they were doing, I would vote for Democrat at every federal position, and I would vote as far right as I could at every state level position.
Yeah, but that's exactly what they're not going to do.
That's exactly what they're not going to do, which is why they'll never win my vote.
There you go.
This is Kenny Webster's Pursuit of Happiness. Dig it?
Hey, everybody, you're watching us live streaming on social media, obviously, while we are recording some segments for our afternoon show. For those that don't know, ilovewj.com is a great website where you could purchase products from us just in time for the 4th of July. Go check it out right now. We've got the Doge Father stuff. We've got the Gulf of America beach towels, Helen Keller Memorial Gun Range stuff, and so much more. And while we're on that topic, Ethan, why don't you tell us about your podcast?
Yeah, so there it is. Check out the Next Gen Report wherever you get your podcasts, or listen live on AM 950 KPRC Sundays at 7. We talk about a little bit of everything. I try to gear it a little bit towards, folks my age. I want to get young people into politics, into the right side of politics, pun intended. But at the same time, it's not limited to anybody. If you're older and you want to just stay up to date casually, I'm a great place to go to do that. If you are younger and you want to stay up to date casually, I'm a great place to do that. Or if you're way into it and you just want some more political content, hey, come and find me. I'm, of course, on X _ Ethan Buchanan, Buchanan.
I love it. My buddy Ethan, you're doing awesome work. Hey, for those of you watching us live streaming on social media, stand by. We're going to keep the show happening right now, so don't go anywhere. All right. The state of New Jersey leads the nation in missing cat reports. Did anyone check to see if they also lead the nation in Haitian immigrants? That would be something, wouldn't it? That would be very awesome. All right, let's talk about illegal immigration for just a second. A report today at, what is this? Breitbart.com from our good friend John Nolte details something we've talked about on this show many, many times before. Apparently, the issue with illegal immigrants, it's not just about violent, dangerous people out on the streets collecting benefits and violently attacking people. Sometimes it's about car accidents. I mean, no, it's true. If someone's an illegal immigrant and they're in the country and they're not following the driving laws, that has actually been the source of a lot of recent deaths in our country. And we've documented some of this stuff on the air many times. Now we have a new one. There's a lawyer that is defending Raul Benitez Santana. That was the car accident that resulted in the death of a Washington State patrol trooper in March 2024. The lawyer said it was not a crime. It was just a car accident. And you can actually watch the lawyer make her argument here. Let me turn this on so people watching us live streaming can check this out. Go ahead, play the tape. Oh, sorry, hang on a second. We need a little volume here. Can I get a mulligan?
In the dark, early morning hours of May 2nd, 2024, a series of unfortunate circumstances collided in one of the darkest stretches of I-5. And that coming together of these unfortunate circumstances led to a tragic accident. We had a blacked out SUV parked on the side of the road, giving no warning to any other driver on the road that night of its presence. We had a black SUV traveling above the posted speed limit, and we had a white van being driven by a sleep-deprived and inexperienced driver who forgot to turn on his headlights. And when these three circumstances collided, not only did it result in a catastrophic accident, it resulted in the tragic death of Trooper Gadd, but it is not a crime.
It's not a crime. Okay, this person says it's not a crime. Let's walk through why it's a crime. It turns out, according to authorities, why authorities thought it was a crime, this person was in the country illegally. Why don't we start with that? This person was driving 100 miles over the speed limit.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, when he hit the trooper's vehicle. This person admitted to smoking drugs. Now, the drug was marijuana. Still, you're not supposed to, you could think that's the safest drug. Still not supposed to smoke it and operate a motor vehicle. Here's where this gets tricky. The person admitted to drinking alcohol. In addition to smoking weed, was also drinking alcohol. And blew a .047 on the breathalyzer. Ethan, you're a pretty smart guy. What is the legal limit for drinking?
I think if you're driving, it has to be under .03, right?
.08, I think.
Oh, well,
I think so.
that was close.
I don't know. I've never gotten a DUI before. But still, you're high on drugs. You're pretty drunk. And
I mean, it's at least driving under the influence.
Certainly is, yeah. The combination of alcohol and marijuana, combined with the fact that you killed a guy, I think, and you're in the country illegally, and you're driving 100 miles per hour, sounds illegal.
Yeah. Take a note of her language, too. She keeps saying, a series of unfortunate circumstances collided. These circumstances collided. The circumstances didn't collide. The cars did.
Right.
These are vehicles. You killed a guy.
Right.
Even if you did it on accident, there's a penalty to be paid there. Even if you were driving as perfectly as you could and just something happened and you kill a guy, there's still some consequences to be paid there.
Right. Yeah, take a look at the lawyer, too. Like, I could tell you everything about this lawyer without knowing anything about this lawyer. This lawyer voted for Kamala. This lawyer drinks soy. This lawyer thinks that toxic masculinity is destroying America, but doesn't understand why men don't support the Democrat Party anymore. No makeup, no attempt to look feminine at all. Shoulder pads. Women, don't bring this trend back. Shoulder pads. Women, why are you wearing shoulder pads? The only thing that's missing here is the blue hair. Where's the blue hair? Well,
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Her hair is shockingly natural colored.
Yeah, you can't be an attorney and have blue hair. But anyways, so according to the report, last March, 27-year-old trooper Christopher Gadd was parked in his cruiser on the shoulder of the interstate 3 in the morning when an illegal alien, shielded from deportation by the Democrat-run Washington State Insane Sanctuary City laws, swerved and struck the trooper's cruiser 107 miles per hour. Santana's car bounced back into the traffic lane where he was then struck by a van carrying 6 people. The van's driver suffered a broken wrist. Trooper Gadd, by the way, left behind a young wife and a daughter. And in any of that, if any of that is true, it does sound a lot like that's a crime. Over 100 miles per hour, multiple substances, high out of your mind, in the country illegally. What do you want, guys? Of course this person belongs in prison. This is absolutely bonkers to me. Ethan, I'll let you get the final word.
She casually tried to blame it on the trooper there. Did you notice he was a blacked out trooper's SUV, made no indication that he was parked on the side of the road? Listen, I've driven down a lot of highways in my time. I have seen a number of troopers, even at nighttime, parked on the side of the highway. There's a reason they park on the side. That's so if you're driving properly, they don't even have to let you know they're there, and they still won't get hit, and neither will you. This shouldn't be an issue.
I do wonder, though, in the state of Washington, if this actually plays with the jury. They're like, oh, yeah, white cop. Come on. I mean, the cop was parked on the side of the road. Only 100 miles per hour? Just a little weed and alcohol. What's the big deal? The immigration laws aren't fair. Who knows? Anyway, I'm Kenny Webster. Thank you all for watching and listening. You can find me on social media. I'm on X. I'm on YouTube. We are now on Rumble. How exciting is that? And, of course, we're on the Book Faces. And but, who needs to look at that? We've been shadow banned there for years. I've had 500,000 followers on Facebook ever since the end of the 2020 election, and the number has never gone up. And I have a feeling I know why. You know where the numbers do go up? When I'm measuring the love I have for all of you in my heart. Have an awesome afternoon. I want to thank Ethan Buchanan for being here. We'll be back bright and early tomorrow morning for more of what you bought a radio for.
You are listening to the Pursuit of Happiness Radio. Tell the government to kiss your ass when you listen to the show.